Sharper Point Commentary, presented by Schwartz Laser Eye Center.
Yippee! Inflation is lower. Yeah, of course, across the country, prices rose 0.3% during April and 3.4% during the 12 months that ended in April. And here at home, the Phoenix Metro's 12-month inflation rate for April was lower than the country's at 2.6%, but that was up from the 2.2% 12-month rate we saw in the Valley at the end of February. And listen to this, because Jim Rounds, Valley economist, talked to us on Arizona's Morning News, and he makes a great point. Lower inflation does not mean lower prices.
Doesn't mean we're paying less. We're still paying more. We're paying more now than we were even when inflation was around 10 or 11%, because it's still going up.
Yeah, and remember, in the Valley, we saw inflation speed up. And Jim is concerned about what has been causing the largest portion of the Valley's inflation, the rate of housing inflation.
The inflation for shelter, was what they call it, is between 5 and 6%. It's been a little bit higher here in the state just because we're a growth state. That tends to happen.
That's a double whammy, because while inflation stays high, the actual cost of a home stays high. And because the Federal Reserve doesn't see a reason to lower interest rates because inflation is remaining high, the cost of borrowing money to buy a costlier house stays high, keeping even more people away from becoming homeowners. But what do we need even more than shelter? How about food? Yeah, and our producer on Arizona's Morning News, Patricia Valencia, told us earlier this morning about how inflation has caused her to adjust how she feeds her baby boy.
Baby food is super expensive. I have a 10-month-old, and I've recently invested in a handheld blender instead so I can make his own purees and, his own steamed veggies. It's very expensive just to buy a little tub of food for them. It's like $2.99.
I don't think I'm showing my entire age by saying I remember when you used to be able to buy a fast food meal for an adult for $2.50. By the way, Jamie will have a story coming up in a few minutes explaining how McDonald's in the UK is addressing Mental Health Month there by introducing the non-happy meal, acknowledging that you don't have to have a smile on your face all the time to be okay or something like that. Here in the U.S., I think we need the unhappy meal, because the place I think most people have noticed inflation exploding is at the drive-thru. I'm waiting to pull up at some point in the near future and see that the value menu, which used to be called the dollar menu, will have fast food items starting at $10. I suppose the silver lining is that fast food prices provide lots of motivation to not buy food that's bad for me. But by the way, that's the silver lining on the very dark cloud that hangs over Joe Biden's re-election chances.
Thanks for watching Sharper Point. Click to see more from Arizona's Morning News and tap the button in the middle to subscribe.